You buy a house, you dream of peace, a little backyard, a place to call your own, but then you meet the HOA, and suddenly owning a home feels a lot like being in high school again, except the hall monitors wear polos and carry clipboards. This is the true story of how my $50 grass violation spiraled into a $5,000 disaster, and how the HOA almost made me lose my home. When my wife and I bought our first home just outside of Austin, Texas, we thought we'd made it. Quiet cul-de-sac, tree-lined streets, friendly neighbors. It was the American dream, right down to the white vinyl mailbox. Our neighbor Doug, a 12-year veteran of the block, welcomed us with a smile. "Just keep your trash cans hidden and your lawn short," he joked, "and you'll stay off their radar." We laughed. We should have listened harder. 2 weeks later, I opened my mailbox, and there it was. Notice of violation. Grass exceeds allowable height. Fine, $50. I laughed. Legitimately. I'd mowed the lawn 6 days earlier. It wasn't a jungle. So I shrugged, mowed again, and tossed the letter in the drawer. Big mistake. 3 weeks passed. Another letter. The fine had doubled. Administrative charges, $75. Processing fees, $25. Now I owed $350. I called the HOA office, expecting some common sense. Instead, I got Karen. "Sir, your lawn is a violation of Section 4.2b. You signed the CC&Rs when you purchased the home." That's when I learned what CC&Rs were. Covenants, conditions, and restrictions. A 63-page rule book I definitely didn't read at closing. So I went to the next board meeting. Picture a middle school cafeteria with 5 people behind a long table, sipping coffee, judging my lawn. I showed photos, explained the misunderstanding. "Compliance after notification," one board member said, "does not eliminate the violation." They nodded, wrote something down, and moved to the next item on the agenda. I left owing $500. Doug shook his head on my way out. They did that to a guy on Maple Drive. He ended up moving. 2 months later, I received a certified letter. Notice of intent to lien, amount due, $100, a lien on my home for grass. I called a real estate attorney. "In Texas," he said, "they can foreclose if they want. You're better off paying." His retainer, $1,500, suddenly paying felt cheaper than fighting. So I paid $5,043.17. Between the fine, legal advice, and everything in between, my grass became the most expensive lawn in Texas. My wife was furious, not at me, at the system. We pay dues, and they still nickel and dime us over blades of grass? All I could do was nod. After that, everything changed. I mowed every week. The HOA patrol drove by at 6 a.m. clipboard, measuring tape. I got cited for keeping my Christmas lights up past January 6th. Once, a windstorm knocked over my bin. I got a warning for yard debris. It felt less like a neighborhood and more like a surveillance zone. Then I started talking to my neighbors. Doug got fined for his son's car having a college bumper sticker. Monica had to remove her garden gnomes. They violated decorative harmony. One guy couldn't repaint his shutters because the exact paint code was discontinued. We all had stories, but we were all afraid to speak out. I started digging. Our HOA was managed by a third-party company. They oversaw 80 neighborhoods. Their revenue largely based on fines, more violations, more profit. Our board, mostly landlords, some didn't even live here. One was the developer's cousin. This wasn't about curb appeal. This was about control. The breaking point came with Amber. Single mom, works 2 jobs. She got fined for chipped paint on her mailbox. It started at $20. By the time she opened the letter, $800. They garnished her wages. She cried on my porch. That's when we said, enough. We showed up. At every board meeting, we ran for open seats. We demanded transparency. We organized. Within a year, we rewrote parts of the CC&Rs. We capped fines. We fired the management company, and for the first time in years, it felt like home again. I learned that HOAs can be good or they can be awful. They can protect neighborhoods or tear them apart, but they only have power if no one pushes back. You have to fight for the community you believe in. If you're buying a home, especially in the suburbs, read the fine print, read the CC&Rs, talk to your future neighbors, look at the HOA's history, because in the land of the free, nothing says freedom quite like needing permission to plant a tree. Pause. Sharon, got your own HOA horror story? Drop it in the comments. Because no one should suffer alone. In the war against beige paint, mailbox gnomes, and grass that grows just a little too tall,